Let me know if you can't see my presentation. Once again, a disclaimer, this session is being recorded. If you do not like to be recorded, then please feel free to disconnect. With that, I'll move forward. Welcome to today's session on Windows 365. So I'll be spending some time on Windows 365, which we also call CloudPC. So as we emerge from the pandemic and shift into a new world of work, what is that? Hybrid work. Organizations will need to adapt digital solutions to keep their people connected and collaborate, whether they're working from home or at the office or anywhere in between, right? So what we have seen is flexible work lets us do more, opening up possibilities for people everywhere, right? And people just don't want this flexibility to end. It's reflected in the data, as you have seen it. Recently Microsoft has conducted a data survey, which shows that 30,000 of the people in 31 countries, 73% of the workers say they want more flexible work. Sometimes it's already happening, but it's kind of spiked up with the pandemic, right? What we also at the same time, 67% of employees tell us they want more in-person collaboration. So they still want flexibility. They would like to come into work as they choose, right? And we also heard from 80% of the managers saying that they expect more flexible work from their employees, even the post-pandemic, right? So what we see on this slide is we see employees saying that they want more flexible work options, but at the same time they want more in-person collaboration. This is what we call a hybrid work paradox. So here what we see is, organizations everywhere have a growing need to support hybrid work policies, and in general, they want more flexible policies, enabling an elastic workforce. Whether it could be you're onboarding some your temporary workers, frontline workers, or contractors, or sometimes you might be working on some specialized workloads, which you may not be able to procure the hardware at the same time. You want to have flexibility for bring your own device for that matter, but you also wanted to make sure whoever you're onboarding are fully in compliance, and security is still the key for most of the organizations, right? So every day, organizations are dealing with expansion and change while building at the same time new business and products, right? So that's the trend that continues to happen. So let's kind of go back and see where it all started. So we still love our physical PCs, right? The client PC or physical PC is known, loud, and that is what most of us are familiar with. Many larger organizations have additional, kind of familiar with the virtualization technologies. It was very successful. It has been around for a decade. It was a game changer when it was introduced a decade ago, but it requires IT organizations to have experience with virtualization technology, right? And some people can invest in it, some people can't, or they need to really upskill their organizations. And then, as we have seen from the physical PCs to the virtualized technologies, uh, lately with the computing, we have seen a desktop as a service. All right, it's a newer concept offering. Many organizations have adopted it or slowly adopting it, and we see it continues to grow uh, because it doesn't require a whole lot of learning, but there still has to be some sort of an experience that's required working with one of the major cloud vendors for that matter. You have seen some VDA technologies like Citrix or VMware Horizon, Microsoft VDA offerings, and all those things you have seen in the market for a while. So now this is where, to unlock all these scenarios, Microsoft has announced a new category of hybrid personal computing that delivers Windows 7, Windows 11 from the Microsoft Cloud with the form of Cloud PC. Now, you might be hearing me saying that Microsoft Cloud. I'll explain in a moment what I mean by that. Because Microsoft Cloud is on Azure, yes, definitely, but we also have intelligent cloud like Microsoft Dynamics and a modern workplace, all those things. But essentially, to unlock these scenarios, Microsoft has come up with this hybrid PC computing, right? And as you know, Windows has been the heart of Microsoft for decades as the most fundamental and the most innovative platform for work, learning, creativity, and for that matter, in the development for a while, right? To deliver on that promise, Cloud PCs or Win365 offers a unique set of capabilities different from what's available today, right? So they deliver a distinct interaction between the Microsoft Cloud and end user experience. What I mean by that, it's a persistent integration between the cloud and the PC operating system. And it also offers some sort of a unified security and identity management, as you could see here, right? Because the security is the key. At the same time, you don't want to deal with too much thinking about storage and a compute, pay as you go, variable pricing and all those things. And sometimes you might be working from a Windows device. You're connecting to the cloud PC from Windows. When you go home, you'll be connecting from a Mac or iOS, whatever it is. So you want some flexibility to kind of resync those options, right? So this is where Windows 365 comes in, a cloud PC, a new way of experiencing Windows on any device. Why do I say that? Because Microsoft is uniquely positioned to bring together the PC and the cloud with a consistent and integrated Windows experience. And Windows 365 just does that. Just as we brought Office, Microsoft Office a decade ago to the cloud. We used to call Office 365, but it's changed to Microsoft 365. We are bringing Windows to the cloud with Windows 365, right? Windows now evolves from being a device-based operating system to a hybrid personal computing platform, flexible for people, scalable for businesses, and at the same time, powerful for innovation, right? Win365 is a cloud service, some say SaaS offering from Microsoft. I know we have a lot of VDI solutions, which I'll also talk about it, but essentially it's a SaaS offering from Microsoft, a new way to experience Windows 10 and now Windows 11 also to businesses of all sizes. You could be a small, medium enterprise. We cater to all customer needs, right? It allows you to securely stream your desktop, apps, data, and settings from the Microsoft Cloud to any of your personal devices. It could be Android device, it could be Mac, it could be Windows, it could be whatever it is, thin client, whatever it is. It allows you to securely stream from the cloud to your device. With Win365, you can assign users one cloud PC or many cloud PCs, right? For example, you're a developer, but sometimes you want to use it for basic needs, but sometimes you'll be working on some specialized workload. So you would like to have multiple cloud PCs. So that is possible. So you could have one or multiple PCs that align to your work needs. And each cloud PC can align to different configuration of your compute power and storage, right? Yeah, so I kind of covered this. It could come with various compute and storage options, scalable storage. It's fully secure, streamed from the Microsoft Cloud on a secure a TLS SSL connectivity. But essentially, it comes with you wherever you go. It could be working from office, working from home, or you could be traveling anywhere in the globe. The settings are there, the apps are there. You own the PC and then, but it's in the cloud and you can continue to work on it, right? Now, let me talk about there are two categories here, right? It's what does it mean to the end users and what does it mean to the IT people, right? Uh, for the end users that are consuming these cloud PCs, it could be streamed to any device of your choice. It could be Windows-based, Mac, or it's essentially a Windows operating system, but it could be accessed from one of the supported clients. It could be HTML client, or Mac, Android, or whatever it is, right? It's a personal desktop, always up to date, fully managed by Microsoft on your behalf, right? Wherever you travel, wherever you go, it's with you. Only thing is you're not really carrying it, right? So there is no security checks at the airports or anything for that matter, right? It's you are fully familiar with this technology as a personal PC, so you could install whatever the apps of your choice demanded by you or your organization might enforce some of these security software. But what about the IT organizations, right? It's scalable. Uh, the beauty of this is a predictable cost, right? Based on the storage and compute you pick, it's a predictable pricing. So say it's like when we go to uh, and when we buy a PC from one of these stores like Best Buy or wherever Amazon, based on the configuration, you could say it costs you $50, sorry, $500 or $1,000. The same goes here. Sorry. Okay, so it comes with a predictable cost. So depending upon the configuration you choose, you will be paying like a monthly predictable cost. And PC is running 24/7. There's nothing like you got to stop the VM to save on compute costs. Whether you shut down the PC or not, it doesn't matter. You'll be paying the same predictable pricing, which is depending upon the configuration, it could be $50 a month or $100, which I'll talk about it. And most importantly, the IT organizations, takes time to procure the hardware, install the golden image software and everything. So that's where the challenge is, especially when the pandemic hit. But with this, it's very simple to buy the licenses, activate it, deploy and manage. Everything come in the Microsoft Configuration Manager, which I'll also talk about it. And these are loved by the users, trusted by the IT organizations because it's scalable based on the demand. It's a predictable cost. That's what the enterprises are really looking for. At the same time, how easy it is to procure um, a device that comes with hardware and software, right? And most importantly, it comes with Microsoft tools, whether it's M365 apps that includes Outlook, MS Office software, Excel, Word, Microsoft Teams. It's integrated with the Microsoft Defender for Cloud, which allows you to worry about the security and scanning and all those things. And your identity is integrated with the organization, Azure Active Directory. And most importantly, everything can be configured from the one endpoint device, which is Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So today, Windows 365 comes in two flavors. Windows for business and Windows 3 for enterprise. Business is tailored for smaller organizations. If you want to use this offering for 300 users or less, then Windows 365 business is ideal. It's very simple to buy and procure. But enterprise is for large scale organizations where you wanted to integrate with other Microsoft features like M365 or Endpoint Manager and everything. But at the end of the day, Microsoft has a solution to cater to your needs. You could be a small, medium, or enterprise. We have an offering for you. But I'll be spending some time on enterprise offering. So here's what you see. It's a Windows PC, cloud PC, hosted in the Microsoft Cloud, runs in a Microsoft managed tenant. So it's not in a typical Azure subscription that you see, but you could access it from your personal laptops or tablets or iOS for that matter, Android phones. We support Windows 10 and Windows 11 today. And as I mentioned here, depending upon your choice, You could pick and choose configurations like you want basic, let's say for frontline workers or some specialized workloads, and we continue to expand these compute and storage options as and when we see more customer demand. So I just want to briefly talk about some sort of a reference architecture and how it's going to look like. So typically what you see here is your end users are coming from their favorite personal devices. It could be Mac, Windows, or on a web-based or anything, right? This is your customers on-premise network. So the prerequisite is you still need to have Azure subscription, and your identities are being synced to Azure Active Directory, but Windows 365 Cloud PCs are managed in Microsoft's tenant. So we kind of some customers might say, "Oh well, I still want to have a lot of control on the networking." Yes, that is still possible. You still integrate with your on-premise network in a VNet. So that's where we do the side-to-side VPN or maybe express route. That is a possibility. You could do that connectivity wiring. And once that happens, you will be able to provision these cloud PCs, which I'm going to show you shortly. And then you can integrate with the M365 or Endpoint Manager and all those things. So what you see here is three things. One is your Microsoft tenant and your Azure subscription. And this is your on-premise network. That's where your domain controller is. You'll be syncing with your Azure subscription using Azure AD Connect. So these are all the same things that you have been doing today. The only thing is these cloud PCs are being provisioned in Microsoft managed subscription instead of your subscription. OK, so what does it mean? How easy it is to provision it? It's very simple. Work with your Microsoft specialist to procure the licenses, or you can just buy it from yours by going to Microsoft an admin center, activate the licenses. It's very simple. Of course, you have to be some sort of a global admin privileges from your organization to do that, right? And work from Microsoft Endpoint Manager to provision these cloud PCs and everything, which I'll show you shortly. So you buy the licenses, you activate it, and then you do some initial provisioning process, assign the users or groups for that matter, and then you start accessing it. So let me just pivot to the demo. So what you see here is, so I'm on my Microsoft Admin Center. So when you log into Microsoft Admin Center, you just go to Home, your products for that matter. Oh, sorry, Purchase Services. So in the purchase services, again, the end users may or may not be familiar with these things, but an enterprise admin in your organizations might be dealing with this admin center. So this is where you could purchase Microsoft services, whether it's Microsoft 365 or any of the Dynamics and everything. This is different from Azure subscription, OK? So you come here, you buy Windows 365. As I mentioned, we have different flavors. Um, Windows 3 for business for small organizations up to 300 users. As I mentioned, the key point we need to remember is it's a predictable cost. Like as you could see, like $24 per month. Again, it varies from the SKU. Or you could do with the enterprise, and we recently rolled out with Azure hybrid benefit. Sorry, Windows hybrid benefit. So once you come here, you can procure these licenses directly from the portal. If you prefer not to do this, you can touch base with Microsoft account executives and they'll work with you and help you out, especially for the larger licensing, right? And then you activate it. So in my case, for example, I have activated my licenses. Of course, I just bought a basic SKU for testing. So in my case, I just bought a basic SKU like a 2V CPU, which is OK for my personal computing needs. Each of them has separate pricing. So it's also clearly documented in our website. What does it cost you for business and for enterprise? So as you could see here, it's a predictable pricing, right? And then if you are an enterprise organizations which needs to cater for like say more than 300 users, and it's a different pricing, but there are several things that Microsoft Executive will work with you, but you can always check this out in terms of what does it cost me. So if you're looking for some high-end developer, you need a higher storage compute. This is where you can start with. So you're done with procuring, you're done with activating the licenses. Now you go with you go to Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So this is where you go to endpoint at microsoft.com, right? You come here, this is the standard thing that you can manage for all Windows. The first thing you want to do this is you will see an option called Windows 365 here, right? So here, the first thing you're gonna do is you're going to create an on-premise network connection, right? So what you do is typically you connect from Microsoft managed cloud to your Azure subscription. So the prerequisite for Win365 is Azure subscription. So for example, as you could see here, I configured on-premise connection. I'm connecting to my on-premise domain controller. So typically you have to provide all these details. What's the name? What's my subscription? What's your resource group, right? Or what's my VNet and subnet and all those things, right? So I do this, my VNet and my subnet, that's where my domain controller is. I'll just give my credentials. Um, so these are one-time setup. What's your domain name? If you want to provision your cloud PC in a specific OU, you can do that. This is done by typically your IT administrators. So once all these things are done, we run some background checks to make sure this connectivity is successful, right? So you're done. My checks are all good. Everything is passed. So I can connect to this. It's great, right? So once this is done, you're going to come up with a provisioning policy. What provisioning policy is, hey, um, what is the configuration you'll be using it? For example, do you want to, let me show you what kind of SKUs you'll be working on. Could be what is the image type you have? Are you going to use a Microsoft marketplace image, or are you going to create a custom image? Eventually, the enterprises or organizations will come up with their own golden image, right? So that is still an option. Or you could start with a gallery image if that's your choice to quickly onboard it and everything. So yeah, if you see here, we have Windows 10 and all those things, right? Windows 10 M365 apps or just basic ones, right? So that's all you have to do, and then you assign it to the users and you are good to go, which I have already done that. So once that is happens, we assign the users or groups. So your PCs are provisioned. In my case, I only have one PC, but if you have 10 users, based on the provisioning policy, he can provision 10 cloud PCs and everything. So this is what we meant by you can configure everything, manage, configure, setup in one single place. It's very easy to use. You don't need any virtualization experience. You don't need to know anything about Intune and everything. It's pretty easy. That's what you need to do. So in my case, my PC is provisioned successfully. Just did that last night with the Windows 11 Enterprise, Microsoft 365 apps. The latest image is a 21H2, right? So I'm good. Now what next? So my code is provisioned. So you could ideally go to win365.microsoft.com. These are web-based. You'll just come and connect to this, or you could download your preferred clients, whether it's for Windows or iOS or Mac or Android, right? So if you are, you might be comfortable with one of these RDP supported clients. So in my case, I'm using my native client. So as you could see, I already connected to this. This is my configuration. So I just come here, authenticate myself. I'm good. See. So last night I was working on it. I didn't close some applications. It's still there. it's there. So that's what I meant by the data comes with you, right? So I just can open some connections last night. It's there. So you work from home today, but tomorrow you log in from another supported client or HTML client. The data is still there. And if you are done, you can just simply come here and disconnect yourself, or sign out for that matter, or you can just disconnect it. So the VM is always the cloud PC is always running 24/7. You're only paying for the predictable cost, whether that is $24 or $30, whatever it is, right? But it's running 24/7. You can connect from any of your supported clients, whether it's a web-based client or a Windows client, whatever it is. So for example, yeah, I can just try from the web client too. Let me just try from the web client. If some of you are familiar with Microsoft VDA solutions, it's the same thing, same endpoint that you could use it. You can connect from the web client too. So the thing is, it requires Active Directory domain controller in your on-premises. But we are also coming up with Azure AD integration for cloud native identities. That may be coming up sometime next year. It's not available today, but we support Windows 10, Windows 11, whatever you can install all your custom software. You're just done with it. You can use Microsoft Teams or any of your Microsoft 365 applications, PowerPoint, OneNote, whatnot. Right? It's as simple as that. It's completely streamed, secure, delivered from the Windows cloud. Okay. Any questions on this so far before I move on to the next slide? So it can be purchased or procured from Microsoft Admin Center or work with the Microsoft Account Executive. You can manage this from the Microsoft Endpoint Manager. That's it. And then you can access from your supported clients, whether it's a web-based client or Windows client, Mac OS client, or iOS client. So there are some references that I put together. Please feel free to check this out about the pricing, about the documentation and everything. We have great partners. So one other thing I also wanted to talk about is so Microsoft's mission is to empower every user, every organization based on their needs, right? So in one of the prior presentations, you might have seen some sessions on Microsoft's cloud VDA offering called Azure Virtual Desktop. But we also have this cloud PC. So at the end of the day, we have a solution for you. It could be you might be only wanted a cloud PC, some sort of SaaS offering managed Microsoft. You go with cloud PC. Or if you want some sort of you have been using VDA solutions for a long time, but you wanted to use a cloud-based offering, and you can consider Azure Virtual Desktop. So it all depends on your options, use cases, what are looking for Microsoft as a solution for you. But I also wanted to talk about some comparison of what this means. So Cloud PC only offers a desktop, personal desktop. That's it. Right? It's a persistent, personal, assigned to you. No one can get in once it's assigned to a user, right? Fully managed by Microsoft, end-to-end, one-stop administration for Microsoft Endpoint Manager, as I have shown you, right? And main thing is predictable pricing, right? Per user per month, right? On the other hand, Azure Virtual Desktop gives you a lot of flexibility. When I say flexibility, you want to expose some apps instead of full desktop. Some customers have that need. So they can expose, for example, you wrote a custom application like SCP client or maybe your own custom app and you want to stream those. So in that case, you should consider Azure Virtual Desktop. It supports Windows 7, Windows 11. It supports personal desktops as well as multi-session desktops, right? And if you are familiar or using a Citrix or VMware in the good old days, and if you would like to consider a cloud offering or modernize your VDA infrastructure, then also you can consider Azure Virtual Desktop. It gives you some flexible consumption pricing, pay as you go, depending upon how much time you keep the VMs up and running. So it's a choice that you make. Sometimes you could do mix and match, right? Sometimes you'll only stick to cloud PCs because that's easier to procure and manage. This requires some sort of VDA expertise. So at the end of the day, Microsoft has a solution for our customers. So they should be able to, they can consider what their choices. But today's presentation, I want to touch upon the new offering that we introduced, I think 3 months ago. So that's pretty much it from my side. I'm happy to take any questions.
Hey Kumar, real
yes.
quick question on the user profiles. Let's say if I have two cloud PCs assigned, will it share my profile between the two?
No,
Like I want really my profile to be kept, right? So my PC can go away, but if I log in again, do I see my desktop again? So that is my question.
yeah, so there is no roaming concept of the profiles. It's a personal and persistent. So although it's a different users, but the configuration could be different, right? So the settings. So for example, in this PC, you might be installing some software, some developer tools. In the other PC, you might only have an Office software or Outlook. Now, to answer your question, you can put your documents, files in OneDrive, and they can be roamed across the desktops, across the PCs. But
Okay.
you can use the OneDrive, you can do syncing, so that can be synced across the devices. But when it comes to the maybe that's your question. So you can use OneDrive to copy all your files. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Thanks.
Any other questions? Guess not. So what I'll do is I'll first stop sharing. And then I wish you all Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. There won't be any Powerline sessions for the next 2 weeks. Naveed will be back in the new year, and we'll come up with another session. Thank you all. Thanks for joining. Have a nice weekend. Bye now.